online business world has changed. The good news, there are more opportunities than ever. The bad news, you probably don't even know that some of these opportunities exist. I'm going to break down the best business ideas for you to start, and I'm even going to tell you exactly how to start them. By the way, this video is sponsored by Tide, more on them later. All right, let's just dive in. Let's not waste any time. The first business idea is subscription-based newsletters. These are having a moment. Have you ever heard of a platform called Substack? If you're nodding your head at the screen right now, then you already know what I'm referring to. But if not, don't worry, we're going to talk about it. Subscription-based newsletters are essentially email newsletters that you send out to a handful of people who are paying you a monthly cost in order to receive that content. So as with everything in the world, there's always a value exchange. And I think it's important to understand what the value exchange is when it comes to new businesses. So in this context, the value that you will be providing your audience is entertaining, educational, or whatever it might be, newsletters that they find valuable or help them in some way. In return, the value that they're going to give you is their money. So there are platforms like Substack and Beehive, which make creating these email subscription newsletters super, super easy. So you essentially create your own profile, you figure out what your niche is going to be, and most importantly, what your value offering is. So again, the value exchange, you need to be really clear on what value you're providing your audience through your newsletters. And once you've defined all that, you can set about trying to get people to join your newsletter and pay a monthly cost. Now, the thing about this business idea is that a lot of creators are talking about it, especially Substack. People love to talk about how much Substack is growing at the minute and how much of an opportunity it is. And I agree. However, if you go down this route for your next online business, you need to know that this is a volume game. If you're going to charge people a monthly cost in order to get your exclusive email newsletters, the amount that you're going to charge is probably going to vary between like $1 and $10 or £1 or £10, whatever currency you use, right? That's how much you're probably going to charge for people to get access to your newsletter every month, depending on who you are and what it is that you offer. So if you want to scale to $10,000 months, you need to make sure that you're getting a lot of people in the door and a lot of people are signing up to pay for your newsletter content. So it's a volume game, right? So you have to keep that in mind. So if you're not someone who wants to utilize social media to promote your newsletter, or if you're not someone who wants to grow a big audience, then this might not be the best business for you. Before we move on to the next business idea, let's break down the first 3 steps that you should follow in order to start this business. Step 1, choose a clear niche and a clear target audience. What is it that you're going to be talking about and who is it going to be for? Step 2 is to choose between Substack or Beehive. There are others out there. I'll link to these below, and to set up your profile. And step 3 is to start promoting your newsletter on your existing channels. A pro tip here is when you're talking about your newsletter, focus on the value. Don't just say like, I have a newsletter and you'll get an email from me once a week. No. Instead, you want to say something like, if you want to learn how to keep your garden thriving in the winter months, join my newsletter because I'll be sharing tips every single week, right? You're focusing on the value that your audience are going to get when they join your newsletter. Business idea number 2 is a great one, and I think it's one that not a lot of people are tapping into right now. This idea is to host virtual co-working sessions or to create accountability communities. They're kind of similar. If you don't know what either of those are, it's essentially online communities that people join purely to help them remain accountable and productive. You may have seen YouTubers do this where they'll do a live stream of like a study session. So they'll be like, study with me for 3 hours, and they'll go on live stream, they'll be studying, and you're supposed to be studying alongside them. This is essentially a similar concept, but it's just packaged up into a business and it's a bit more organized for your audience. Accountability communities are similar, but they focus more on ensuring that people who are inside a community are being held accountable for their goals. So if I joined an accountability community and I said, this week I want to film 4 YouTube videos, that community's job is to remind me of that goal, to keep me on track, to make sure I know the steps I need to take in order to reach that goal, and to basically increase the chances of me actually fulfilling that goal by the end of the week. Now, this business idea is such a good one at the moment because it capitalizes on remote work culture, which is very much still a thing. I know a lot of people are going back into the office more nowadays, but a lot of us are still spending a lot of time working from home. Also, it can help a bit with loneliness, which kind of goes hand in hand with working at home sometimes. A lot of people don't have colleagues around them anymore. So creating these virtual co-working spaces allows them to actually connect with others on a day-to-day basis. If you're thinking to yourself, well, that sounds great, but how do I monetize this business? Essentially, you would monetize it by charging a monthly subscription. So people pay a monthly set cost in order to get access to this community or to these virtual co-working sessions. In addition to this, you can also use it to upsell other products or services that you offer, as long as it's tied to the concept of like productivity. Isn't that such a cool one? Like, I love that idea. In terms of how you actually go about creating this business, I want you to follow these these first 3 steps. Step 1 is to choose your niche again, but also your community focus. For example, you might want to create a virtual co-working community for creatives or for founders or for marketers, or you want to create one which is specifically for people who have ADHD, and you ensure that the community that you create is ADHD friendly. Step 2 is to actually create this private space. Now, this doesn't have to be as complicated as it sounds. You can use platforms like Slack or Discord, which are instant messaging platforms that a lot of people are already familiar with, or you can take it one step further and actually build a community using a platform like Uscreen. That's what my membership community is currently on. Circle, or another one called Koala, which I've recently come across. I'll put links to all of these in the description. Or you can use the platform that you're already on. If you're already on Instagram, you can create a subscription on Instagram, and that's where you host your virtual co-working spaces. If you're a YouTuber, you can actually create a membership on YouTube, and that is where you can do your like bespoke live sessions, right? Doesn't have to be complex. Don't overcomplicate it. And then your third step is to market this space. And the way in which I recommend you do this is by hosting a virtual co-working session for free. So do one for free first so that people can get a sense of what the vibe is, they can understand the value of it. And then from there, you can charge people in order to continue to get access to the community that you built. Okay, before we move on to the next business idea, I want to take a quick second to talk about a very important subject, especially for those of you creating a new business. And that subject is managing your money. Now, I have a business and I've had one for a few years now. And in the early days, I made some serious mistakes. For example, I learned the hard way the importance of separating your personal finances from your business finances. In the early days of my entrepreneurial journey, I just mixed everything together. Can you imagine? Maybe you can imagine, because maybe that's what you're doing right now. Now I'm a lot more advanced with how I manage my money for my business. I have multiple business accounts, and I opened 2 of those business accounts using Tide years ago, and I honestly haven't looked back. I'm in the app multiple times a day. At this point, it's basically my business partner. I always recommend Tide to small business owners and freelancers who just need something that's simple and easy to use. At the end of the day, your money management process shouldn't be complicated, but it should be effective. My Tide business accounts are free accounts. They have no hidden fees. And most importantly, I have access to all of the tools that I need. So payments, expenses, savings, taxes, etc. Also, and this is very important in my opinion because I'm incredibly impatient, it is very easy and very quick to set up. I opened my account online and I was literally ready to go the next day. If you're just getting started, I've got a pro tip. Use code JADE50 and head to the link in my description box to sign up. You'll get £50 in cash back when you spend £100 on your brand new Tide account. So remember, head to the link in my description, use code JADE50 and thank me later. Okay, next business idea is called print on demand personalization. If you have been a YouTube OG and you have spent a lot of time watching entrepreneurs on YouTube for the past 5 to 10 years, you would have heard print on demand because it had a real moment like 5-6 years ago. Now, it is worth saying that I'm not talking about those print on demand businesses because they had their heyday. We're upgrading it and we're talking about a new way to approach print on demand. If you don't know what print on demand is, it's essentially when you create a business where you sell products to your audience, but you don't necessarily fulfill them. So for example, you might sell t-shirts with like a cool graphic or a slogan on it, but you are not the ones actually holding the t-shirt stock or printing that. You have a fulfillment partner who fulfills all of your orders for you and ships out all of the orders to your customer. So your job is to design the merchandise that people actually want, create the storefront, so create the website, and to market it. Like that is what your roles and responsibilities are. It's a really popular business model because it allows you to basically have like a shop and a brand without holding on to any merchandise, which I have actually had boutiques before where I've held onto the merchandise and it's a nightmare. So it's a really appealing business model. However, in order for you to see success this year and beyond, you need to merge the personalization element. There are now fulfillment companies, and I will link a bunch of them below, which will allow you to market products which can be completely personalized. So maybe you want to create some merchandise and you've got a really cool jumper, but you want your audience to be able to add their YouTube name to it. That's actually a really good idea. Should I create a store? No, focus. You want to sell this merchandise and you want people to add their YouTube handle to it, and that's what makes it personalized. That is a lot more appealing nowadays than just selling merchandise that someone else is fulfilling for you. Do you remember at the start of this video, I talked about the importance of a value exchange in business? This is where the value exchange comes in. Nowadays, you offering a piece of merch to an audience isn't a big enough value to actually get them to pay you and therefore trigger that value exchange. However, if you want to offer your audience a cool piece piece of merchandise that they can personalize, that is a lot more valuable to them, and therefore you're more likely to get more sales and see success. This is an especially good business idea for people who are going to target like hyper niche communities. So like cat owners or like bookworms who are really into fantasy, romance novels. The more hyper specific you are, the easier it is for you to create merchandise that audience are going to actually want. Should we talk about the first 3 steps for this business? I mean, you can't answer me, so I'm just going to dive in. Step 1 is to figure out who your audience are, try and make them as hyper targeted as possible and hyper niche, and then to brainstorm some product types. So is it going to be mugs, hoodies, journals, etc. Step 2 is to set up the back end, right? You want to find a fulfillment company like Printful or Gelato. I'll link to those before. And then you also want to create a website using Shopify or Etsy, and you want to link those 2 things together. If you want a full step-by-step tutorial on this, then search for it on YouTube because there's loads of content out there. Step 3 is to design the products. So you can actually do this using Canva, Adobe Express, Pixar, or you can actually hire a designer to do it for you. The next business idea is to host virtual events. This is actually something that I do with one of my businesses, The Creator Project. So if you ever want to check those out, I'll put a link to them below. But essentially, this business idea is to create virtual events for a specific audience and to charge a price for people to actually join them, right? This is a great business idea in this day and age because there is a growing demand for online workshops, summits, etc. It's a perfect income stream for people who don't mind being on camera and hosting events, but who are also super detail oriented. Also, and this is a big pro for this business idea, is that there's actually multiple ways that you can monetize a virtual event. One way is by charging for tickets and for attendance, which is what I mentioned before. Another way is by getting sponsors. That's actually the way that we monetize our events for the Creator Project. At the moment, we don't charge for tickets. That might change in the future. We actually get sponsors on, and that's how we earn an income. You can also do things like charge for the replays. So maybe it's free to attend, but if you want lifetime access to the replays, you charge a fee for it. So how do you go about creating this business? Let's talk about the first 3 steps. Step 1 is to figure out your event format. So is it going to be a boot camp, a workshop, a summit, and also to figure out who it is you're trying to serve or attract to this event. Step 2 is to get familiar with the tools that you might want to use. There are so many. Right now I use Demio, which is a great platform. It's a little bit more advanced and therefore it can be a bit expensive, but you could also use Zoom or Google Meet. You just think about how you're going to set up the back end of this event so that it runs super smoothly and so that everyone's able to join and access the content. The third step here is to do with marketing, as per usual. For this type of business, I do recommend offering one for free, at least to start with, because you want to attract an audience and demonstrate how valuable your events truly are. And it's going to make it a lot easier for you to charge and promote and talk about your event from that point onwards. Business idea number 5, AI consultant. This is a really cool one, and the demand for this one is through the roof. Essentially, a lot of businesses know that they need to use AI, but they're not quite sure where to start, specifically small to medium-sized businesses. So they're looking to hire consultants who will allow them to figure out which AI tools they should be using and also to assist them with implementing these AI tools into their workflows and their processes. And that might be where you come in. So the idea here is that you'd position yourself as an AI consultant or strategist, not just someone who's an expert in certain AI tools. You want to really get yourself to a point where you feel comfortable saying that you are a strategist and you have a good knowledge of all AI tools, like across the board. Obviously, in order for you to start this business, you need to do a lot of training and get yourself to a point where you are proficient in AI. Please don't jump into this without actually doing the work, like doing the back end work, because at the end of the day, you're not going to see much success and it's not going to be an enjoyable process for anyone involved. The great thing about this idea is not only that it's very much in demand, but also that you have high ticket potential. Like you could have the potential to charge thousands of pounds for your services and even get put on a retainer for some companies to really help them onboard AI tools and systems. So the first 3 steps to launch this one are a bit different from the others. The first step is to train yourself up in the world of AI and to specifically understand the pain points that AI can solve for businesses. Second step is to build a website which showcases specific AI use cases and results. The third step is to start offering free services such as audits, right? So you could say, let me audit your business and show you how you can implement AI. Do that for free a few times. Bear with me. I know I keep on saying do things for free, but do you know what? It's one of the easiest ways to get your business off the ground. Do it for free a couple of times and just ask the people you're working with to give you a testimonial in return for you providing that service for free. You can use that on your website. It's a great marketing tool. You can even repitch to those clients and say, hey, now that you know how you could use AI to improve your business, why don't you hire me to help you implement AI for the next few months, right? All right, so for this second business idea, I will personally attest to the fact that this is in demand because this is actually a business that I've recently tried to seek out. And this business is to become a LinkedIn copywriter. There is a huge demand for people who can write good copy to manage people's LinkedIn channels, specifically those who are founders, creators, corporate people, whatever it might be, because LinkedIn is such an important platform and it's only becoming more important and popular in recent months. So we're really at the early stages of a huge trajectory when it comes to the popularity of LinkedIn. And alongside that, there is a huge rise in people who need others to manage their LinkedIn profile for them. So the business idea here is that you would become that person. So you would become a copywriter, or maybe you create a LinkedIn management agency where you focus on creating engaging copy for those who want to be present on LinkedIn. The great thing about this service is that it can be easily packaged into monthly retainers. So again, retainers are just when people pay you a set fee every single month to do a predetermined amount of work. Retainers are beautiful things for businesses because it allows you to have predictable income, and you can very much do that if you choose to go down this business path. If you wanted to do this business, here are the first 3 steps that you would need to take. Step 1, very important, is to study high-performing content on LinkedIn. Learn LinkedIn, love LinkedIn, and improve your own LinkedIn. I cannot stress this enough. If you do not have a good LinkedIn, it's going to be very hard for you to pitch and land clients and therefore manage their LinkedIn, right? How many times am I going to say the word LinkedIn in this section? Step 2 is to build a mini portfolio, and you can do this by writing a few example posts, maybe doing some ghostwriting for some of your friends and family. Just build up your experience and build up your portfolio. Step 3 is to pitch your service, and I recommend doing this on LinkedIn itself. Find people who you know would benefit from having a better profile or a better presence on LinkedIn, but aren't currently utilizing it, and pitch to them because they are the prime audience for you. Business idea number 7, we are getting there, guys. This one is to create digital products and courses. Now, I know this one has been around for a while, but it still is a great way for you to earn an income. Now, this business idea involves you coming up with something digital that you can create and offer to your audience. That could be anything from like editing presets all the way through to a full course on how to bake a cake. It could be anything. One thing that I will say, and this might be controversial, but I think you should avoid selling PDFs or ebooks, because in the world that we currently live in, it's very easy for someone just to go on ChatGPT and ask it to write an entire ebook for them. And people know that it's very easy for others to do that, and therefore they're less likely to actually purchase PDF content from people now. Instead, if you're going to offer something that's digital, either offer something that can't be replicated using AI, such as editing presets, or you offer something educational that has a video element where they can see your face and therefore know that they're getting something from a human. Now, this idea is perfect for people who create educational content. And I don't just mean like my content, I also mean like the example I just used, like maybe your content is teaching people how to bake a cake, right? If you teach something through your content, then this income stream lends itself to that. In terms of the first 3 steps, step 1 is to identify a problem that you can solve through some form of digital offering. So the presets example, the problem that you're solving is that you're making it easy for people to edit and color grade their content, for example. Or when it comes to the bake the cake example, the problem that you're solving is that people don't know how to bake a cake, right? Step 2 is to use tools like Canva, Pixar, Adobe Express, or Loom. Loom is a great one for video tutorials to actually create the product itself. And step 3 is to create a landing page and really promote the product or service. Obviously, there's a lot more that can go into this. I'll link to my membership below, which has a bunch of resources, masterclasses, templates that you can use if you want to go ahead with that business idea. For now, though, let's move on to business idea number 8. This one's a fun one. This business idea is to become a wedding content creator. It's basically a modern twist on wedding photography. Now, I'm not saying it's supposed to replace wedding photography. People will still hire photographers for sure. It's just something in addition. Because we live in a world now where we want a lot of content from big special days. And sometimes the overly curated wedding photography isn't always what we want. Sometimes we want the more natural, off the cuff, candid content that someone can just capture using their phone. And that is where a wedding content creator comes in. Their job is to literally show up to the wedding and to get behind the scenes content of the day. One of my bridesmaids, her specific role was to do that. So I completely understand why people might want to hire a third party to step in and do that for them. This kind of trend is becoming especially popular on platforms like TikTok or Instagram. Right, so first 3 steps. First step, build a simple portfolio which showcases the content that you could create at their wedding. You got to be good at creating content. You don't have to be like professional photographer level, but you need to know how to pull together a good video or photo, right? Step 2, define your packages. For example, will you have a video only package, an image only package, a video and an image package? Are you going to charge based on how much content you're going to capture, or are you going to charge based on how long you'll be at the wedding? Step number 3 is to network. Networking is going to be your best friend when it comes to these kind of businesses. Spread the word that this is a service that you offer and network with other suppliers who are in the wedding industry. So florists, wedding venues, planners, etc. Network with them, offer to promote their services to any clients that you get in return for them promoting your services to any of their clients. Okay, so idea number 9 is like same but different to the previous one. This one is to become a UGC creator. I'm sure you've heard of this business idea before. It is still very much thriving and there is still a lot of opportunities for people. In fact, I'm going to link to a whole video where I dive into how you could become a UGC content creator step by step. And I'm going to link to a masterclass inside my membership where we got a guest coach to come on and talk to you all about how you should price your packages and how you can really launch your UGC career. For now though, I'll give you some of the basics. UGC content creation stands for user generated content. It's essentially when you create a service where you produce content for brands and they share that content on their own channels. So it allows you to create marketable content for brands without them having to do it themselves. And that is something that a lot of brands need in this day and age, simply because it is so difficult for brands to keep up with the amount of content that social media demands. The great thing about becoming a UGC creator and this being your chosen business is that you don't need a big audience in order to become one. You just need to be good at creating content. And the content doesn't have to be professional level either. It can be just captured on your phone, but you need to know how to highlight a product and how to ensure that audio and visual is pretty tip top in all of the content that you're creating. Also, UGC presents a great opportunity for repeat clients and repeat work. If you do a good job the first time, there's a big chance that that brand will repeatedly use you into the future, which is amazing for reoccurring revenue. Let's talk about the 3 steps to follow to actually start this business though. Step 1 is to practice. Practice filming UGC style content, do it with the products that you already have at home, study what other UGC creators are doing and get good at the craft. Step 2 is to create a UGC specific portfolio, which could either be like a PDF that you create on Canva or Adobe Express or Pixar, or it can be an account that you create specifically to showcase your UGC work. So you create a brand new TikTok or a brand new Instagram, and it's specifically there just to show the UGC content that you create. Step number 3 is to get pitching, okay? Do not wait for brands to discover you. Get your pitch message ready and start to DM brands and ask for work. Again, if you want more guidance on this or more assistance, head to the resources in the description because there's a bunch more guidance in there. Okay, business idea number 10. We have got there, guys. If you still have not found the next online business idea for you, this one might be it. This business idea is to become an OBM, also known as an online business manager. Online business managers are essential for creator or coach-led businesses, kind of similar to the business that I currently run. What they basically do is they step in and they help creators or coaches manage their entire business. So creators or coaches, their main job should really be to produce content. So whether it's content for their coaching programs or content for their social media channels, that should be what they're focused on. The OBM should sit directly under them and they should manage the rest of the business. So if there are other freelancers within the business doing the graphic design, the editing, or the copywriting, the OBM should manage them. They might even hire them. If the creator wants to do a launch, the OBM will plan the launch, will project manage the launch, right? They really are like the creators or the coaches, like secondhand man. Now this service is very much in demand and you can often charge quite a lot for it because it's such a specialist need. So let's talk about the first 3 steps to follow in order to become an OBM. Step 1, train. If you want to become an OBM, you need to be incredibly organized and you need to know how to organize yourself. So you need to familiarize yourself with the most common and popular organization tools. So ClickUp, Notion, Asana, Airtable, Slack, all of those, you need to get good at them. Step 2 is to offer to shadow or assist an existing OBM on a short-term basis just to get a feel for how they manage and run their business, how they work with their clients. And step 3 is to set up a website or a landing page where you can talk about your services and start to market it to people who might be interested. Those are the best business ideas, in my humble opinion, for you to start in this year and beyond. Don't forget, use my code JADE50 to sign up to Tide and you'll get £50 cash back when you spend £100 on your new Tide card. Head to the link in my description. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's a full walkthrough of all of the kit that I use to create my content. So super important for anyone who's planning on creating content in the future. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I cannot wait to see you in my next video.